Hi, are you watching this because you couldn't find any videos about BMW i4 xDrive40? Or maybe you are just curious about an electric BMW? Well, I can provide you with an interesting point of view on this car from someone who's not really a car enthusiast or a big BMW fan. I'm just a guy who wanted a cool electric car and, after some research, decided to get this one. This is a 2024 BMW i4 xDrive40. Before this car, I drove a Tesla Model Y for about a month, so I do have something to compare with. The BMW i4 series comes in 4 trims. xDrive35 is the least expensive of the 4, and the M50 is the most costly. xDrive40 was in the middle until BMW introduced a new 2024 model called xDrive40. It is basically xDrive40, but with 4-wheel drive, 2 motors, a bigger battery, and lots of horsepower, 396 to be exact. It's fast, powerful, has a 307-mile range, and did I mention it has 4-wheel drive? That was my reason for leasing one. Speaking of ordering, the whole process took about 2 months, from ordering this car on August 29th to picking it up at a local dealership on October 30th. Now, let's dive into some details about the xDrive40. I'll start by looking at the exterior. To operate this car, you will get 2 key fobs and a key card. The vehicle has a proximity sensor, so once you approach it with a key fob in your pocket and touch the door handle, it will unlock. You can also change settings so the car will open when you get close to it. The car will automatically lock when you walk some distance away from it. It will beep, mirrors will fold, and all doors will lock unless one of the doors or trunk is open. The trunk can be opened in several different ways. With a key fob, with a button on the driver's door, by pressing the button at the trunk, or making a kicking gesture under the backside of the car. This will work as long as you have a key fob with you. Speaking of the trunk, it's spacious and powered for both opening and closing actions. It's a hatchback style, which I love. There's a little bit of extra storage on the sides and under the cover. That storage space is occupied by a Harman Kardon sound system, if you opted for one, and a tire repair kit. Like many electric cars, this BMW doesn't have a spare tire. The charging port is located on the passenger side and looks just like a gas tank cover. Looking inside, it reveals a combined charging system, CCS, that consists of AC and DC sockets. Looking under the hood, some will be disappointed by the lack of a front trunk, like in Tesla. Instead, it looks more like a gas car engine. Here you will find reservoirs for the wiper, brake and other fluids that this EV still needs to function. Fortunately, no oil changes. Everyone mentions that BMW chose to make this electric car look almost indistinguishable from the gas version of the BMW 4 Series. I think most BMW owners are somewhat conservative and welcome this design choice. However, it's okay with me either way. I would also be okay with a futuristic electric car look. Frankly, I don't care. The car looks good and hot, so no complaints. Inside, this BMW is roomy and comfortable. Immediately, I was blown away by the curved screens on the dashboard and the many physical buttons on the console. Screens are vibrant with a high-resolution OLED-like display. Unlike Tesla, this BMW has vents that can be physically controlled. I like this more than the touchscreen controls on Tesla. I just wish they had a physical temperature and fan speed dials. The number of buttons on the console is a bit overwhelming. I'm still learning about all of these, but right away you have a transmission control toggle next to the start button. Once the car is started, you can control its movement with this stick. Pushing it away from you activates reverse and external cameras and sensors. When in reverse, the car emits loud, futuristic backup sounds to alert anyone nearby and annoy your neighbors early in the morning. Pulling the stick towards you activates normal drive mode. Pulling it again activates regenerative braking B mode, which is my favorite. This is what they call one-pedal driving, because when you release the throttle, the car immediately starts to slow down and eventually stops. This is especially great for heavy traffic conditions or for controlling speed turns. And similarly to Tesla, BMW has an auto hold function, which applies brakes when the car comes to a complete stop when using one-pedal driving. Right here, you will also find three main drive modes: economy, comfort, and sport. I mostly use comfort mode as it provides the most enjoyable driving experience. However, I briefly tried the other two. In sports mode, you can accelerate faster, it seems, but I didn't like economy mode one bit. It made this rocket of a car extremely sluggish and hard to accelerate. And speaking of acceleration, it's the craziest, most insane feeling that only electric cars can provide. I was stunned by how cool it was on Model Y, but xDrive40 is just as fun, if not more, even though it has less horsepower in the specs. Press the acceleration pedal and the car instantly takes off like a rocket, pressing you against the seat. It seems so effortless and fun. Another cool feature of the i4 is its seats. They are incredibly comfortable. I wish I had one in front of my TV at home. Speaking of seats, I chose the black Vernasca leather option for this car. I don't care if it's leather or cloth, but this was the only option that offered vented seats. I've dreamed of vented seats every summer as my back gets sweaty on some long car trips. This BMW has a good-sized glove compartment that can be opened manually. I love this as I was highly annoyed by Tesla, where you had to go through menu items to open the glove compartment. However, the center console is disappointingly shallow. You can store glasses and phone here, but not much else. It has a single USB-C charging port. Another front console opens up, revealing two smallish cup holders that won't fit larger tumblers. There's a standard 12-volt car socket here and a USB-A port that can be used to read flash drives with music. Further, there's a wireless charging pad that doubles as NFC reader for a keycard and/or digital phone key. The charger is useless because it overheats phone badly, just like Tesla. This is caused by coil misalignment. I don't think anyone has a solution yet. However, this space is excellent for keeping sunglasses. The back passenger-facing side of the center console has another two USB-C ports and individual climate controls, which is nice. I opted in for some extra features like heated front seats and heated steering wheel. More buttons can be found under the vents, including the volume/mute button that I use all the time. I wouldn't say I like volume buttons on the steering wheels of this BMW. They require some force to press and are annoyingly clicky. Instead, BMW should have added a more ergonomic volume and track control buttons under the steering wheel. I do like a small scroll wheel here though, and a menu button that lets you adjust what you see on the dashboard screen and HUD. On the other side of the steering wheel are driver advanced driving assistance and cruise control buttons. Oh yes, the heads-up display or HUD. I wanted this for a very long time, so I did pay extra to get one, and let me tell you, now that I have it, I never want to have a car without one. It displays speed, navigation information, music tracks, and so on. And it's only visible to the driver. Looking up, there are map light controls and a sunroof button. I didn't even realize this car came with a sunroof when I ordered it. It was a pleasant surprise. It lifts up to let fresh air in or can be opened completely or partially. Let's take a look at the iDrive system briefly. The left screen can display speed, map, direction, cars around me, music information, and other fun data like acceleration diagrams and power consumption. The larger screen on the right is the main display. It can be controlled by touch or by this joystick and buttons around it. Honestly, I think the control wheel joystick is redundant and I could have just lived without it. The main display will show a big map by default with quite a bit of information, including the nearest charging stations. It can also be configured to display weather, music info, and so on. Unlike Tesla, BMW iDrive is fully compatible with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And it's wireless, so you can keep your phone in your pocket or inside the console. BMW's navigation system is accurate and useful, but I think Google and Apple Maps are much more intuitive and refined. BMW Navigation Adaptive Zoom truly sucks, and I've missed quite a few exits and turns while using it. However, it has one significant advantage. It displays navigation information on both the driver dashboard screen and HUD. Sadly, HUD can't show Google Maps. This car also has a voice assistant, which is fun to use. You can invoke it by saying, "Hey BMW." The coolest part is that you can create your own custom invocation phrase.
Computer, estimate the time from this location to Starbase 416 at Warp 9.
Okay, maybe it won't make a cup of tea for you, but will adjust temperature and search a destination. Weather in New York City.
Currently it is cloudy in New York with a temperature of 37 degrees.
Both the best and worst parts of owning an electric vehicle is that it needs to be charged. On the one hand, you never need to go to a gas station again. On the other, if you don't have a way to charge your car at home, this could get complicated. Your best bet is to install a charger outlet at home if it's an option. My xDrive40 came with a flex charger with a very long cable. The charger comes with two adapters, one for a regular 120 volts outlet and one for 240 volts NEMA 1450. Flex charger will draw a maximum of 40 amps. At 40 amps or 9.6 kilowatts, my BMW charges fast. I charge it overnight and set my battery limit to 80%. It usually takes 2 to 3 hours to charge to that capacity, but it will depend on how drained your battery is. I can't finish my video without talking briefly about advanced driving features. While this BMW doesn't have a truly self-driving mode like Tesla, it is still amazing what it can do. Like many cars now, this one has a lane departure warning system. Unlike most, it will control your steering wheel if you go over the lane divider. It has an adaptive cruise control that will automatically slow down for cars in front of you and steer in your driving lane. When you press the turn stick, the car will change lanes. xDrive40 also has parking assistance and backup assistance modes. Backup assistance will record about 200 feet of the path you took before you stop, and can drive that same path in reverse. All complaints and minor annoyances that I had with this BMW completely overshadowed by how fun the driving experience actually is. I never had a car that was so comfortable and fun, and I love driving it every single time.